Fire 1 FNCS.
Okay. So it's possible. It's possible.
But a caveat, Jacob, is that actually only applies to NA East. Because remember, the new NA region, this is new. We ain't had many NAs FNCSs, right? We've had NA East FNCSs, we've had NA West FNCSs, and that only applies to NA East. It has actually happened a bunch of times in NA West. But we don't talk about NA West, do we, Jacob? Unless it's you, because you talk about NA West all the time.
It's all I talk about, especially when our shuttles, our rides. That's all I can seem to think about. Possess and Zuko, though, are going to have to think about how they're going to continue to move forward into the zone. Beeb doing a good job continuously putting that pressure down, but he lost Skittles. That is going to be the biggest detriment to his game plan, especially we're already in the 7th zone, so the chances of him being able to get him back into the game are almost slim to none. One of those tough positions for Aviv because he knows teams are not only on top of him, but are all around. He kind of has to wait here for them to rotate first, and then he slowly but surely follows in their same steps. Saw what first place looked like when it came to Aviv. And the rest of this one out as a solo. The second place, looking like they're in a much better spot in terms of Kanata and Agers, Slurp Juice, a gold Havoc shotgun, and then even a Mammoth pistol. Kanata is one of the prominent players that kind of utilize it as a double pump as a bead. Just taking so much damage, forced to the backside of zone. Big pot going to be used. Med kit probably shortly after. But no matter what happens here in terms of his heals, the potential to get one shot just like that will always be there. Not my fault.
Well then, if you want a preview for FNCS Grand Finals, that's it right there.
This one is gonna get tricky because already you have drastically different elevations in this zone. And the potential to move in the surrounding area makes it that much more terrifying. So we're gonna have to go down the mountain towards the outskirts of Mega City. For teams that might not be prepared, might not have a ton of resources to build, not gonna have the most fun as Cold is just trying to get out, reposition himself because he doesn't have any heals, doesn't have a ton of builds. So he has to be very, very careful with every move that he makes.
If he gets both of these players here, I'm gonna lose my mind.
I'm just thinking it's possible. It's definitely possible. It's Cold of all people. He already has 4 eliminations combined with Acorn, 7 as a team. 131 points. Peterbach playing a game of peekaboo to try to get some shots, some cheeky ones through as he steals away the covers. Split zone is going to begin to move, forcing these players into some action. Perfect rotation from Peterbot, barely even getting looked at on his way towards the zone. Climbed up, built some elevation, but just as soon as he gets there, he gets tagged up from the top, forced to expend his last Slurp Juice. But they've been playing so aggressive so far. They have 8 eliminations to their total.
Ooh, you almost had it, Cold.
Ah. Shield just getting dropped. A tough spot for Cold to be in. No heals, no builds. Pressure of the Flapjack. Stuck against the mountain. Does a good job of going up 1 layer, but with the builds running out, so does his time. He gets sent back to the lobby by Yumi and Source.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time really for him. Really tough game to be in, especially as a solo.
Not a toe-to-toe, box-to-box, right next to Clarity and Trashy. Both of these duos trying to fight for that front side of the zone. You can even see them going around right next to Kanata and Aegis, trying to beat him there, but that's the same risky play, because that's exactly what you have waiting for her. Quick reloads coming out from Kanata, making sure to stay in front of the zone. That's going to be the name of the game, and we're going over treacherous water.
Beautiful rotation for them, letting those guys rotate ahead as they move through the dead side. You see how many maps they're saving as well, just from being able to completely ignore one whole side of the zone as well, and avoid having to cover that side. But these are the two top dogs in the lobby right now. Bucky as a solo, and Kanata and Aegis as a duo. The duo, though, is looking more likely to be able to be that team that finishes the day in first, but Bucky will give them a run for their money for sure.
Yeah, talked about how much he loves to fight. He's very, very prominent when it comes to being able to clutch up by himself. Reed and Ritual, they're going to be the ones that claim the high ground for now. Aegis takes a huge shot, but luckily has Kanata there, kind of help on the defensive end. Hold on to his covers, put pressure back when needed as well, and they're just trying to break into the box. Whoever that is barely able to get out alive as Bucky's just scraping through on the low ground.
Brilliantly done, brilliantly executed across the board from all these different teams we see on our screens to put themselves ahead of all the rest of the lobbies, all the rest of the teams. But it does seem like as the zone gets smaller and smaller, they will start to collide. You see Bucky has the attention of the high team, but he's giving them a lot of issues right now. And Kanata and Aegis might just have their eyes set on him soon if they are not careful. He might have something for them. He has something for everyone, it seems, and the slurp juices will allow him to make some plays to keep himself in this game even longer.
Yep, Bucky running into trouble on the low ground, but doesn't even get touched in that moment, but the breachers cause too much. Down goes Bucky, but Aegis feeling a little bit of that same pain. He gets knocked by Yuumi. A great shot through the builds. Kanata, once again, clutching up big. All that loot being left behind. Aegis knows it's all up to him if they want a chance at that first place.
It's a slurp that was sitting there, so we'll see whether or not that comes back to bite him. Does have some mats to get his way into the zone. And there are still so many players left in this one for him to take some fights with, a bunch of solos in it. If he wants to drop down, Cooper below in this tub, he's waiting for him. He knows someone's there. He sees him under the stair, but nobody gonna be there just yet. The pressure from the high ground team just making it so awkward, so uncomfortable. And Kanata will finally been taken out. Clicks though, trying to make something happen in this final game. Epic falling. And so that duo will finally be out of it. And so now just a 1v1.
This is an opportunity for Miro to come out on top against Ree, and a perfect one pump takes him out. Cooper and Miro stand tall in our last game of the day. But there's still so many unanswered questions, Levin.
So many different teams have tried their best throughout 3 weeks of qualifiers, and it all comes to an end there with Cooper hitting that shot as we send our way to the grand finals of the FNCS. And big props to Cooper. As a solo, yes, there were plenty of other solos in this endgame, but he was the one that was just better than the rest. So many different limbs, 5 here, and then of course the 6th with that one on to Reed. Not too shabby at all for Cooper, but like you said, Jacob, it's about all these other teams we've been watching throughout the qualifiers. The questions are, who are the ones that made it? Who are the ones that will be playing in the grand finals? I've had an absolute blast casting NA with you over the past 3 weeks. I don't get to do it often, but every time I do, it's a lot of fun. Jacob, I can't wait to see who it is, but for now, let's send it back to Zeke and the analysts to break it all down one last time.
Thank you so much to 11-2K and, of course, Jacob PR, my best friend. Wow, 6 games in NA, and now we have to start tabulating the points. Now we have to take a look at the series point leaderboard and say who are the top 50 that will be moving on to grand finals next week. Before we get to that, I do want to talk about this game and, of course, the day overall. A massive congratulations to Miro and Cooper. Coming into this game, Miro and Cooper were actually 12th. So this Victory Royale paired up with the 7 elims that they picked up in this game, this could have massive implications on the standings themselves and hopefully the series point leaderboard.
Look, Cooper might be the mastermind as far as flipping a coin is concerned, but this was not really that much of a 50-50. He felt so smooth in these final moments, and doing it all as a solo is probably one of the more impressive facts about it.
You know, I feel like Cooper is so comfortable with making those storm plays. You know, one of the first times I tuned into his stream, he made like a call to wrap around the mountain and go in the storm. And I was like, you know what? I really like that call. And then right there, he pretty much makes the game-winning play by going out into the storm and getting the flank on the Kanata and Epic whilst they were fighting. So shout out to Cooper. He's clearly a smart individual.
Hey, evolve the play, right? It could lead to a victory royale, and as proven, it happened here today. Let's take a look. The final set of standings are ready for us. Who walked away in that #1 spot on the day? It is Agers and Kanata in a photo finish. After that final game, we saw this duo only coming down to a single one of them, and they did manage to even find 2 eliminations in the process, and it was enough to take over that #1 spot.
Especially when you factor in that Agers and Kanata, they didn't even have a single bit of objective points to their name here today. All of this was on the back of eliminations and really consistent placements, but it's the consistency in their placements that's stemming from the fact that they are just playing outside of their drop spot at Drift Bridge so well. They've really done an excellent job at maintaining their Storm Surge, and the way that they were taking up some of these box fights was very strong and very cohesive as well. Did a really good job in this last game too of staying together when challenging these boxes.
Yeah, I mean, hot off a second place in a Cash Cup, coming out to win week 3 here of the major. I mean, they're looking very, very good. And like Taco mentioned a bunch right there, it's pretty much just how consistent they are in every single game. And me and Zeke talked about it earlier as well. I mean, it doesn't really seem like they're going for any like highlight reel plays. They're not relying on some crazy clutches. It's just solid play throughout. And that's why, I mean, coming in the grand finals, I think they're looking good.
I think that is... So remember, as we kind of been talking about it a lot, and maybe you're just tuning in, maybe you're just, hopping off work, you want to watch some Fortnite, welcome. I'm sorry you missed it, go back and watch it, but a lot of the duos we've talked about today are already in grand finals, right? So imagine we're 1 week in the future. At the end of this would have been it. Agers and Kanata would have won. So if they come out here, week #3 in that first place, because again, so many of these duos are in grand finals, I have to feel like they could translate this to grand finals. However, remember, many duos are still keeping a couple strats close to the vest, close to the chest. That's fine. But this is a strong showing as we prepare ourselves for grand finals.
Hey, every bit of practice counts, and for Bucky and Okus, that's definitely going to be a strong narrative for them because, as Vivid pointed out earlier, Okus is going to be stepping away, and with Grants just around the corner now for this duo, getting in some much-needed practice here today, taking every single game seriously, that was evident from how Bucky and Okus managed to finalize a second-place performance.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the strategy of them pretty much just hanging around by some of those rift spawns, waiting for Rift Island to go ahead and actually spawn. And they always just rift onto the Rift Island, and it's something that everybody is going to be aware of. So the fact that they have already kind of like implemented this into everybody's minds going into grand finals, it's something that, they are very, very confident in and that other players are going to have to be aware of. And I really like how they were looking for some high ground takes throughout the day. They didn't necessarily have it and it wasn't very convincing, but the idea of them looking for it and trying to build up means that when it comes to grand finals and there's going to be 12 games, I can almost guarantee you at least one of those games will see them on the high ground.
Absolutely, and I think a duo that really stood out to me today, Aviv and Skittles. When I am thinking about these duos, now remember, Aviv and Skittles, they're like top 20 on the series point leaderboard, so they already had their spot in grand finals. But again, this is practice. Aviv today went absolutely nuclear. He was wild, man. Coming down to that solo performance just a game ago where it was just him. And he said, doesn't matter. I'm going to find 10 eliminations. I'm going to end the game in top 10. If they could have a repeat of this, if both of them could be alive in grand finals, this is a fearsome duo.
Would say I would imagine it to be a little bit more difficult because even looking at the leaderboards, you could tell one of these teams is not like the other, and that was Aviv and Skittles as far as their elimination scoreline was concerned. 37 elims is impressive to say the least. But when it comes to a grand final set lobby, I wouldn't anticipate a team to have as easy of an accomplishment with those 37 elims, but still just a lot of potential clearly with this duo.
Yeah, and one specific strategy that ended up working out one game very, very clearly, but I still saw them look for it in other games, which is why I'm actually so excited for grand finals for this duo, is the fact that they seem to kind of revert back to something that we've seen a lot before, which is going to the front side of moving zone and looking back towards high ground. Of course, we saw them get their VR using that strategy today, but again, like I mentioned, I saw them continuously look for it, so the fact that they have that established strategy gives me high hopes for their grand finals performance.
Absolutely. In the final duo, I just wanted to call it, of course, Iamzo and Rise. A phenomenal showing, placing fourth today. Remember, these guys are looking for their spot, the Global Championships. Next week, we will have eyes on this duo and see if they could get this run back on the performance. There's a lot more spots next week. It could happen. They just have to keep that momentum going.
Of course, it almost felt like for Iamzo and Rise, they kind of just came out swinging, wanted to let everybody know, hey, look, we're going to take a little bit easier since you guys know that we're already secured, but getting those back-to-back second-place finishes earlier on, while they didn't get a victory royale, still a good standing.
Yeah, I mean, in the weeks, first, and fourth, not bad. Rise already his socials says he's not feeling good about this performance, so we'll have to see if that affects that grand finals.
Wow. Well, hey, look, practice makes perfect. Take a week, take a step back, come in stronger for the grand finals. Now, as our favorite thing to do, well, mine is to talk to our players in our community. We have the winner coming out of this week. Of course, it's Kanata. Kanata, you know, man, we talk way too much. Look, I'm just going to get an extra box, okay? And we can just put you in that box, and then you can just be with us all the time. You're just a permanent fixture now. Man, so how's it feel? How's it feel? Yet again, another W.
It feels really good, like putting in that hard work, body reviewing, making sure that I don't make a lot of mistakes, making sure that I perfect my gameplay. And seeing that it pays off, it really does feel good. It feels really good.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed with you, Kanata, is that you've really been going ham in terms of the stream content in particular. And so what has that been like as far as impacting you as a player mentally or just like in-game? Because do you ever feel yourself wanting to get a little bit more flashy with it, knowing that you're like streaming every single moment?
I would say like streaming actually makes me play a lot better because I know that I want to be showing my viewers the best content, which is like getting into endgame, of course. I don't want to be doing anything that will get me eliminated in the game, and I want to make sure that while I'm playing that I show my stream the best side of me, right? And then so far it's looking really good.
Yeah, I just want to give my big congrats. You know, we talked in week 2. You guys mentioned that you were switching up the Storm Surge strategy. It's very, very clearly working, and I think you guys were one of the most consistent duos by far today. But I think the biggest question of all is going to be, will you be streaming grand finals then?
100%. I'm going to be doing a stream. I'm 100% streaming grand finals.
Oh.
I'll probably be one of the only duos streaming it. Besides, I think Bucky's going to be streaming it, but also I want to be... I want to put delay on, of course, because I don't want any mishaps happening ever again. You know what I'm saying?
You know, Kanata, I feel like it's not a secret that you are, you know, someone at the top, you know, and for so many Fortnite players, especially let's say like this next generation, they're looking at you and they're just thinking, man, I would love to emulate Kanata. What is just maybe like a piece of advice that you could give to people that are trying to compete at the level that you're, just make it again look easy?
I would definitely say, first, you definitely need a drop spot, because in high, like tier 1 pros, tier 2 pros, you need to make sure that you have an uncon drop spot. That is #1 rule in any finals lobby. And making sure with that uncon drop spot, you know everything about it. And I would say drop spot can always carry a player, even though they're not as good as they seem. If they have enough the good loot and they have the good rotations, you don't need to be mechanically fast. You don't need to have the best aim. But if you really have that game sense, you could easily carry yourself with your spot to get an easy top finish in a grand final.
I love to hear it. Kanata, I'm going to ask you this question. I feel like I know what the answer is going to be, and that's okay if you give me that answer. What can you reveal? Grand Finals. Is there anything? Is there any little snippet you could tell us? You don't have to tell me the whole thing. Just a morsel.
Let's just say that Deagle, the new pistol. Let's just say that I'm gonna be carrying it every single game. That's my little snippet.
I'm down. I'm down. Well, Kanata, if there's some reason someone doesn't know who you are, they need to go find you. They need to go follow you. Where can they do that?
At Kanata on Twitter, Kanata_ on Twitch, and Kanata on YouTube. That's it. That's all me, baby.
There you go, man. As always, we appreciate you being around. Of course, I'm going to find a way to make that box for you so you can just be here a permanent fixture. Man, best of luck in Grand Finals next week. We can't wait to see how you guys perform.
Thank you. Going to you guys casting too.
What a nice guy.
I like how he kept it humble there on your question too, Zeke. When you asked him about like, hey, what are some things, like what's your piece of advice? And he could have just said, no, just watch my stream. Because I think it's clear that he is definitely showcasing some high tier gameplay.
It's the way Taco thinks. That's what we have just found out.
Absolutely. Again, many duos have showed up here today, and they're all looking to put points on that series point leaderboard because remember, next week is Grand Finals. From there, we're looking to move an additional set of duos into the global championships. So if you've enjoyed the play you've seen today, next week will absolutely be a time to come back to watch and of course to cheer on some of your favorite duos, support them, be with them in the highs and the lows. It has been a fantastic weekend for you guys. What have you guys taken away from today?
Honestly, it's just been awesome seeing our teams that we now have solidified heading into the Grand Finals and kind of just seeing that the vibes all around are pretty high for the pros. Everybody just seems so locked in now and so focused on what's next.
You know, I feel like we've seen actually a lot of the teams adapt. We've broken it down many times. We keep talking about how Yamzo and Rise, their strategy is very, very heavily based around, getting the fall and then going for the caches. They basically end up dropping their MKs. They have the flapjack rifles going into the end game. And I feel like a lot of teams actually learned from that this week because I feel like we saw a lot more pressure instances in those end games where a lot more teams just happen to have that flapjack rifle. So that might be something that players now have to counter prepare for, where it's like, whoa, there's a lot more pressure going on in these end games now. How can we combat that?
Man, you guys just have me so excited for next weekend, the Grand Finals. And I want to talk more about it. There's more things I want to ask you guys, but I'll save that for next weekend. For now, I'm getting word we have this series point leaderboard. So let's take a look. We'll take a look at our top 1 through 10 just to see who those front runners are after the day has concluded. Of course, Iamzo and Rise, Agers and Kanata, who we just got to talk to. Again, many names you've seen competing today over the last few weeks. And again, I think for me, a standout has got to be Aviv and Skittles. I want to see Aviv bring more of that heat. To Taco's point, Grand Finals going to be a little different. So we may not see 10 elimination solo performances, but I'm still excited to see them perform. Is there a duo on this top 10 you guys are looking forward to seeing?
It should be a pretty exciting time with Poyo and Sphinx. I think that's definitely, I don't even want to consider them a dark horse necessarily because they feel like a team that definitely has a lot of capability in terms of some big surprises and grands.
I'm always somebody who loves to see consistent strategies, teams replicate them, right, and take full advantage of those strategies and have them work out. For me, I'm going to be looking towards Yamzo and Rise when it comes to low ground domination. Bucky and Okus love the fact that the Rift Island, that mid-match objective 15 points is kind of like their goal. And then Aviv and Skittles, for the first time this week, they showed me that they have that, hey, let's go to the front side of moving zone during those late end games where we usually don't see many teams go for high ground. And let's apply pressure to those teams that are up there. So I think just mentioning those couple of teams right there, we are set forth for a phenomenal Grand Final.
Oh, you guys gotta calm down. Stop hyping me up right now. I'm getting too excited. Okay, let's look at 41st through 50th, and we'll see which duos happen to just make it in there at the very end. A couple names here we are seeing. Look at this, Chris and Mudhut Boy. This is actually who I was wanting to call out. Remember, they needed to end the day in a top 36 or higher to make it in. And for the duo, they did just that, finding themselves in that 42nd place, solidifying the fact that they are a grand finals team.
And hey, don't get me wrong, managing to clinch up and make it into the grand finals lobby, always a huge accomplishment, but job's not finished, and all of these teams are aware of that. Now it's eyes locked fully onto performing in grands.
Yeah, and hey, listen, I'm happy to see Bila and NPen make it in. NPen, great personality, and G-Money as well.
Yeah.
We've seen a couple of highlights from him. Love that guy, so I'm excited to see them. And then clutching it up, 50th place, going to be 20 and Pledge. I know 20 was a little nervous on the social, so I'm happy to see that they actually went ahead and clutched up and made it in.
Absolutely. Now, we turn to Heartbreak. We see 51st through 60th, which duos barely missed out. I know, I'm so sorry. A couple duos here, Quanti and Chip there in that last place, just missing out. We were looking, though, 815 points was like right around what we kind of were guessing it was going to be. So definitely steep competition. But for these duos, one thing remains, the last chance major.
Of course, can never really count anybody out as far as qualing to the global championship is concerned, but Grand's right around the corner, last chance major. I mean, it's still fun to be a participant for, but yeah, that last chance major is definitely impactful.
Yeah, LCM is huge. Grand Finals is huge. Top 10 on NA, top 10 on EU. We'll be going to Globals. I mean, Zeke, I cannot wait to actually go through next weekend, right? And then on Sunday, we just have so many more teams going to Globals. We're almost going to have that thing filled out.
Dude, it's not that far away. It's wild to think we've been doing this for almost this entire year, and now we are so close to what we've all been waiting for, the Global Championships, that last stop. Man, if you've enjoyed everything you've seen here and you want to keep up, you want to watch more, when are we back? Again, that is next weekend. We can take a look at our broadcast schedule. So again, just 2 key dates for you here. The first being August 12th and 13th. That's when we're holding our grand finals. We'll have 2 days of Fortnite action. We'll broadcast NA and EU. 2 days? Come on. And of course, the last chance major for us in NA. That's looking at August 20th. Remember, that's it. The last chance before Global Championships. With all that being said, we just want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us, for being part of this. Next week is Grand Finals. Now, of course, if you're thinking Global Championships, are there still tickets, Zeke? Let me answer your question with a video. This is the Global Championship.
The best players in the world all battling it out.
Insane matches already today.
These are the moments that make these players championship material.
One chance to make it happen, and they take it by force.
It is going to be absolutely insane.
So hey, listen, if you want to go to Global Championships, it's going down. Tickets are available. Come join us. We're going to watch all 6 regions come together. It is going to be absolutely insane. I know, yeah. I say it in the video, but I mean, like, legit, it's going to be insane.
Are you trying to get me to? Is this like a trap right now?
It's not.
For my okay.
Go ahead. We'll wait, Taco. Go ahead.
We'll wait.
No, I think it's good. I think these teams know what they got to do. They gotta take it by force.
There it is. There it is. And it's gonna be a great time, of course. As we said, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. That wraps up the weekend show for now. Next weekend, we'll be back. More Fortnite. Global Championships not that far away, but first, the Grand Finals. As always, thanks to our fantastic casters. We got 112K Jacob PR. We had our mid-game analyst, Mini Miner, and of course, these 2 incredible human beings being our analysts for today. As always, we hope you have a fantastic week. We'll see you next weekend. And as always, we love you. We'll see you on that battle bus. Take care.